When it comes to couples in Naruto, the pair of Sasuke and Sakura is one that a lot of fans tend to call toxic, especially when you consider the events of the 5 Kage summit where Sakura was saved not just once but twice in the very same arc. However, what if this never happened? What if Sasuke had actually killed Sakura during the 5 Kage summit? How would the Naruto story change? Would things end up for better or would they end up for worse? Well, in today's edition of Naruto What If, we're going to look at just that scenario. Like always, in order for this to happen, we must first establish a trigger point, and the two main points here where things could have happened are either when Kakashi saves Sakura or when Naruto saves Sakura. In this video, we're going to be going with the Kakashi scenario because I feel like this is the option where things get a lot juicier. In this timeline, when Sasuke fires up his Chidori and was about to ram it through Sakura's heart, Kakashi would arrive just a few moments too late after Sasuke's Chidori was rammed through Sakura's heart. As Sakura finally got penetrated by Sasuke from behind in ways she never expected, Sakura began coughing up blood as she struggled to say Sasuke's name for the last time before dying just as Kakashi arrived on the scene. The sight of Sakura's body going limp from having her heart destroyed by Sasuke and Sasuke coldly removing his hand from Sakura's chest would make Kakashi think back to the moment when he killed Rin all those years ago. Kakashi would ask Sasuke what had he done, and Sasuke replied with no words but instead proceeded to kill Karin right in front of Kakashi's eyes before wiping the blood of Sakura and Karin from his hands. It will be here that our next change in the timeline would occur. While Kakashi would come to the realization sooner that he understood how the third Hokage felt when he faced Orochimaru, Naruto Uzumaki, as he rushed towards the battlefield, still a great distance away, would have subconscious tears in his eyes as his Sage Mode began to pick up on the life force of his teammate with the cherry blossom colored hair fading away suddenly, and the flashback that he had of Itachi asking him if he'd be willing to kill Sasuke if Sasuke had been too far gone would now hold new meaning. That would be Naruto's first real sign that the teammate that he begged the Raikage to spare had truly gone past the point of redemption. The battle with Kakashi versus Sasuke would proceed just as it did originally, though the emotions would be a lot higher, especially with Kakashi fighting the former student who killed his other student using the jutsu that Kakashi taught to Sasuke. Due to sensing Sakura's death, Naruto would arrive at the battlefield a few moments later, right after Sasuke's Sharingan began to burn out and his eyes needed to be rubbed. Standing on top of the bridge with a dead Sakura in his arms, Naruto would scream Sasuke's name. The sound of Naruto's voice, filled with rage and sorrow and confusion, would make Sasuke turn his face frantically in the direction of Naruto. A much angrier Naruto would clash his Rasengan against Sasuke's Chidori, but this time, instead of the two blows canceling each other out, Naruto would be the one remain standing while Sasuke was thrown back even harder than he was originally due to the rage ant by Naruto. It would be here that Zetsu would cushion Sasuke's body from slamming up against the wall, and Zetsu would summon Obito to whisk Sasuke away from the battlefield after Naruto vowed to be the one that would take on all of Sasuke's hatred. There would be a very solemn moment that would occur back at the bridge as Naruto scooped up Sakura's dead body to take it with he and Kakashi back to Konoha. When they finally woke up, Sai, Kiba, and Rock Lee would be shocked to see Sakura's dead body in Naruto's arms. The fallout of Sakura's death would continue to be felt when Naruto meets with his peers. Neji in particular would ask how can the man who defeated Pain not be able to stand up to Sasuke, and Naruto, as he vowed to handle Sasuke himself, there would be a lot of pushback because this would be one of their own who had been killed by Sasuke. This would hit home a lot harder, which will require someone like Shikamaru to state that only someone as strong as Naruto could take down Sasuke. Tsunade would awaken from a coma, not only to reclaim her mantle as Hokage, but also visit Sakura's grave, likely seeing Kakashi in the same graveyard at Ren's grave in deep reflection due to the fact that the jutsu that he taught Sasuke was used to kill Sakura. From here, the timeline remains much the same. Kabuto still makes his alliance with Obito, and Naruto is still going to meet Killer Bee. His time at the Waterfall of Truth might be a little bit darker because of the anger in his heart from Sakura's death would be another emotional obstacle for him to overcome as he conquered the darker side of himself at the Waterfall of Truth. Eventually, he was still going to master the Nine Tails. However, it would be during the events of day one of the war where there would be some minor and major changes due to Sakura's death. The minor changes would be that the people who died during the battle against Zabuza and Haku that were healed by Sakura, all of them would stay dead. However, the major change that would occur would be during night one of the war. You have to remember remember, it was Sakura who figured out that Zetsu had transformed into Neji and that Zetsu had transformed into the members of the Shinobi Alliance. No Sakura means that Zetsu pretending to be Neji and other Shinobi will be able to kill all the Jonin medics. This means that Shinobi HQ would not learn that Zetsu was the one behind all the attacks they were getting on night 1 of the war. Originally in Naruto chapter 540, Al confirmed that the theory that Shikamaru's father had about Itachi potentially attacking with Genjutsu was possible, since Al said that Itachi was the only ninja he could think of who could suppress his chakra while simultaneously using Genjutsu to control other people to make them kill their comrades. But he stated even to control this many people across multiple bases was still something impossible even for Itachi. None of the people there even thought about White Zetsu, and with the entire medical unit being killed off, it's not crazy to think that there will be a higher state of panic amongst the brain trust of the Alliance. By the time Naruto and Killer Bee make it past the Raikage and Tsunade in chapter 544, the sun would be just coming up, meaning the entire night would have passed and that we will be in day 2 of the war, which would start out with the Shinobi Alliance having their numbers cut down by a much larger margin on top of not having any medical units due to Zetsu killing all of them off. Battles like Naruto versus Itachi and Nagato will proceed as normal, but with each battle against powerful Edo Tensei like the 3rd Raikage, Naruto will be running a very dangerous gamble due to not having anyone on the battlefield who can help heal him and who can help him regain his chakra when he loses it later on, which would make Itachi's warning to Naruto about not doing everything alone hold that much more weight. Madara was still going to fight the 5 Kage. Naruto was still going to unlock KCM2 during the battle against the 6 pass of Obito. Itachi and Sasuke was still going to fight Kabuto. However, by the time we get to the events of Naruto Volume 66, where Naruto's chakra burns out and an exhausted Naruto needs to be healed by Sakura, things would get trickier once the Ten Tails freaks out seeing the Biju chakra inside of Naruto. Minato would still show up to save Naruto at the last minute by teleporting away the Ten Tails Biju Dama, but Naruto would be in a bind when Sasuke arrives with the Edo Hokages soon after Minato arrived, and this is where we're going to be at another fork in the road. One path is that Minato very well could give Naruto the remaining half of the Nine Tails upon seeing that his son had completely run out of chakra. It's the logical thing to do here, since Minato, upon learning they were going to the battlefield in Naruto chapter 627, said that he had to make up for being an absent father by bringing Naruto a huge gift, which we know was the yang half of the Nine Tails chakra. Seeing his son without any chakra, the logical choice would be for him to give Naruto the other half of the Nine Tails. The other option is that Minato could just give his son enough chakra to help Kurama jumpstart the process of gathering more chakra, which is only theoretical because we don't know if that will work. In my opinion, it makes more sense for Minato to just seal the remaining half of Kurama into Naruto, because we know Minato can do so quickly because he attempted to do so when Naruto almost died after having Kurama extracted from him. I believe Minato would have made the logical choice here to give Naruto the remaining half of the Nine Tails before assisting with the barrier jutsu for the Ten Tails, especially if Hashirama is using the deity gates to hold down the Ten Tails in the process. From here, Obito was still going to become the Ten Tails Jinchuriki if we assume that getting the remaining half of Kurama doesn't instantly replenish the other half of Kurama that still needed to recharge. In my opinion, I do believe it would cut down on the amount of time needed to replenish the chakra, but not immediately. The battle with Ten Tails Obito would still occur, but Naruto, now having both halves of the Nine Tails, the Naruto who shares his chakra with the Alliance during the tug of war is going to be a lot stronger. Even if we assume that it's only a 2 times multiplier to what Naruto was originally able to give the Alliance, which would make this a 6 times multiplier for everybody who got Naruto's chakra, which is a reminder, Kakashi estimated that his chakra levels went up by 3 times once he got a small portion of chakra from one half of Naruto's Nine Tails chakra, so double that would be 6. The tug of war for Obito is going to be a huge problem here. On top of having Naruto with both halves of the Kyuubi at his disposal, Naruto will also have Sasuke's Senjutsu Susanoo that came when he and Jugo worked together in Naruto chapter 648. Naruto and the Alliance would pull out the Biju from Obito even faster than they did originally because there would be more Kyuubi chakra shared in this timeline. This means that Naruto and company would arrive at the battlefield sooner, where Hashirama had already trapped Madara by the deity gates and was just waiting for a sealing jutsu. Originally, after Hashirama had Madara trapped, he stated he needed to wait for the sealing team to arrive, and Sai arrived just moments too late, which was enough time to have Zetsu take control of Obito's body when he began to do the Rinne Rebirth Jutsu. Those precious few seconds meant the difference between Sai's Sealing Tiger actually sealing away Madara or the Sealing Tiger failing to seal Madara. In my opinion, in this timeline, given how much faster everything unfolded and due to the fact that Naruto wouldn't be burned out to the point where he was not able to keep his chakra cloak active, he could just speed blitz Sai over to the battlefield where Hashirama had been waiting. Sai's Sealing Tiger would have more than just a few seconds. He would have several seconds, perhaps even a couple of minutes to seal Madara away, which I definitely believe is the case. In Naruto chapter 656, we see Zetsu emerge from the ground to reach out and grab Obito to take control of him to force him to revive Madara. In my opinion, due to Naruto having both halves of the Kyuubi chakra, Zetsu waiting on the ground would have been sensed by Naruto, and Naruto would have just ripped Zetsu out the ground and killed him before he could act. With Madara sealed away and Zetsu killed, the final battle between Naruto and Sasuke becomes a much larger beatdown because the moment Sasuke begins babbling about revolution, Naruto's just going to ask him, does he want to catch these Rasengans or does he want to catch these Talk no Jutsu sermons? Either way, Sasuke gets beaten by Naruto, who makes him answer for not only killing Sakura, but he knocks some sense into him to make him concede that he lost. Though it's going to be a bit tricky, I do believe Naruto beating Sasuke so thoroughly to the point where Sasuke stands no chance, and the two of them still being able to read each other's thoughts through the clash of jutsu and fists, I think that'd be enough to trigger that moment in the shared emotional space that we saw when they were bleeding out and reflecting before they came to that mutual understanding that broke the cycle of hatred between them and the reincarnates. At this point, the Ten Tails husk inside of Obito would be a huge problem. I do believe that Obito, now that Zetsu is out of the picture, would first use the Rinne Rebirth to revive all those who died during the war, and I do believe that Obito would also give his remaining Sharingan to Kakashi as a memento, but then I also believe that Obito would allow the Ten Tails husk to be extracted from him so the Ten Tails husk could be destroyed. However, due to how strong the Ten Tails husk is in terms of life force, even if Naruto himself couldn't destroy it, given everything that had occurred and Naruto making the connection with all the Biju, which I think he likely would have done when Obito told him that he was about to have the husk extracted from him and that Naruto needed to get the chakra of the One and the Eight Tails, I don't think it's crazy that Hagoromo shows up to give Naruto all of the power that he originally split between Naruto and Sasuke, as well as the Rinnegan and the Six Path Sage Mode, because he would not be splitting up this power, at which point, using the two Six Path seals, Naruto will be able to place the Ten Tails husk inside of a Six Path Chibaku Tensei. Between Naruto having Six Path Sage Mode and potentially two Rinnegan from Hagoromo, when the two Six Path Chakra seals on Naruto's hands vanish, like they did when Naruto and Sasuke finished off Kaguya, this version of Naruto would be absolutely broken because he would have Six Path Sage Mode and you have two Rinnegan, and you would also have Kakashi in possession of both Mangekyo's Sharingan. The goodbye with Naruto and his father would be even more heartwarming than what we had originally, because Minato would have seen his son become the new Sage of Six Paths and truly become that child of prophecy that Jiraiya foresaw. And Sasuke would still be placed on a lifetime probation at the discretion of the Hokage, but it would take a whole hell of a lot more convincing since he hadn't done nearly as much as he did in the original timeline to save the world. I could see Sasuke being stuck in jail for the rest of his life. Even if Naruto becomes Hokage, I could see that still being a possibility as well. However, that's where we're going to leave this what if, and I'll let the Sakura haters make as many jokes that they want to about how this is the best timeline possible. That being said, if we hit 1,000 likes, I make a separate video on what if Kakashi killed Sasuke, and if we hit 4,000 likes, I'll continue this story into the Boruto era up to Ishiki's defeat, which, spoiler alert, legend has it, that script is looking really good right now.